I think that Gothic 1's remake will be a fantastic addition to our RPG-loving community and myself as well, because I grew up with Gothic games. I played them all. I even played 3, but I can only say that Gothic 3 is playable with the community patch. And I hope that the company in Spain who picked up the whole shebang will deliver an fantastic remake. I hope they will try to stay as close to the original and the vision of the original. And I hope that we're not getting a reinvented wheel in a sense. But yeah, I would enjoy if they try to add more stuff that is lore accurate, that fits into the whole scenery and whatnot, expand on it, still tell the same story, but maybe in a better way. And also, I'm totally open to new mechanics. I'm totally open to new approaches, as long as it keeps these dark charm that the old titles have, that people are not your friends, all of them, that they might yell at you, they might insult you. I do hope that In Extremo will play in the game as a band again, like in Gothic 1, when you reach the old camp. At some certain point, there is a music play from Gothic who are playing Hermanelik live in the game. And yeah, I hope that we're getting all these lovely little Easter eggs that the first one had, and maybe some more added on top of it. I'm totally down. I'm totally down. And with no further ado, let's have a look what the devs have to share here with us. This video just recently came out with some intakes on the Essence of Gothic, and I hope that all what I said here now will hear from them in the video and see where it goes. Let's have a look here. It will miss the nostalgia just from changing combat. People will not like it. I'm okay with the change in combat because the
original Gothic was so powerful.
Original Gothic combat was just arrow keys left, right, and you could just spam, spep, and there was no real tactics behind it. Oof. Yeah, I said it didn't feel so in depth, and I think a proper combat system that lets you become better as you learn stuff from your teachers. So, for example, maybe you get two-handed a sword, and at the beginning you're holding it like a baseball bat with two hands, and or doing big swings and leaving big openings. And as you learn stuff, your character wields the weapon better and visually progresses also in combat style. And I would love a spike in difficulty in terms of like having directional combat, meaning that you have block into the right direction and hits towards the right direction to block the incoming damage and do maximum damage, or overcome the defense of your enemy in front of you. I think that this will flourish in this kind of RPG concept. It might make it harder. People might not enjoy it. I would be one of the enjoyers, though. I think we might a huge problem. Remake isn't supposed to be a carbon copy of original. Yeah, remake is not a carbon copy. That's true. That would be more of a remaster. But it's hard. It's hard. If you refresh too many things, those who are seeking nostalgia and playing it might be upset. If you're not making the whole package a fresh new one, then is it then a remaster or is it then a remake? It's kind of like a very thin line that the developers of this are and have to walk. I'm open for it. I just hope that overall the story arc and the atmosphere will be the same. Everything else, in my opinion, they can change. If it adds to the lore, if it adds to the flavor, if it makes the experience a stronger and better one.
Popular and so unique at the time that I feel like
it was great. Wow, this looks good.
A proper remake.
I agree. Alkima, thank you kindly for doing this. Thank you. Round of applause. Round of applause for THQ Nordic and Akima for making a Gothic remake freaking childhood's dream come through. Is this Xardic's tower? I'm getting goosebumps already. Oh boy, this hits different seeing the old Gothic 1 visuals. I love the trees just being paper folded. But back then, when jumping into it was really, really just wow. My go-to example is Final Fantasy VII. Wouldn't have minded the combat changes, but changing the story. Oh yeah, yeah. If you change like the essence of the game, then it becomes not really a remake, right? Then it becomes its own thing. I'm totally there with you. Final Fantasy VII remake doesn't feel really right in terms of story arc. Didn't play it though, so I'm not sure if I would enjoy the gameplay itself. But I would be also against altering the story if you are remaking something. But it's the same company doing it on their own game, so it's kind of like they are in a sense allowed to do it. But if you're taking up a spiritual work of somebody else and doing a remake of it, it's kind of hard. If you alter it too much, you probably get too much hate for it. As again, it's a hot balance to keep there. Back then, I tried to design 3D and my PC crashes when I tried to place 20 trees. Good old days, the good old Windows 98.
Our approach was first and foremost to respect and embrace the original vision.
I like what I'm hearing.
We studied the original vision. We tried to understand everything what they were trying to say.
The mole rats.
And we just thought about, okay, this is a remake. That's the first thing.
See, that's what I mentioned before. Arrow key left, right. You're just like swinging, swing, 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 swing.
Fans should have to. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel or to do something crazy with the Gothic franchise. I mean, this is a remake. We embrace, we honor the original vision, and we just try to approach there with the uttermost respect.
Wow, that's actually the words that I was hoping to hear. That they're trying to respect as good as possible the original vision of it and just make it look better, add stuff to it, add mechanics to it, but don't change too much of the recipe.
After so many years, and actually after quite a short time after the release of Gothic 1,
they're smoking their freaking swamp joints there.
I kind of always find the things that I would have loved to improve. If I had more time, I would have thrown things away and replaced them with other ideas. So that constant, striving and
visually it looks already very pleasing.
Better, now I get a second chance, so I can return to my music that I wrote back then and create new versions, create fresh versions that kind of stand the test of time.
It's been more than 20 years since the first Gothic came out, and it's...
Hector, 20 years has already passed. Oh my goodness. Guy returning? Oh God.
difficult to think about how you bring something that has such a history into modern times with the quality of life we have now, and how you stay truthful to the original.
Look at this. This is the mining facility. Was this the new camp? I can't recall.
Experience of playing such a game, which was quite innovative, quite new to the whole market and what it brought to RPGs.
I got immersed into the world of Gothic thanks to Kai Rosenkrantz and his creations. And I want to say a big thank you to Snowball localization team, because they made a huge job. The voices and localization, it helped me a lot to go deeper in this world.
I think that Gothic 1...
You're here. March 15, 2001, OG German release.
One was a game that allows the player to go everywhere, anywhere, and anytime.
Wow.
So...
Just take this in. Just take this in for a moment. I hope they expand the world a little bit and make it larger from one camp to another, because it felt too much like they were straight up neighbors. Then again, it's kind of like this prison globe that is upon you, but snow globe that you're inside of. that maybe won't give too much space of the expanse, but still, I think it was because of game and technology restrictions back then that they were so close to one another. But I'm curious. We'll see.
That feeling that the player has in order to make his
Our
own
modest fellowship expands. Praise the sub.
Relic, thank you kindly for bringing quality TTV into your Shield Wall.
choices.
There was,
Monday
I don't know,
fees.
15 years, over 10 years,
Thank
there
you.
was nothing happening with it, which is sad because it's like, it's a franchise and a game that people deeply care about and are very emotional towards too.
Oh, the
And
good old
I
scavengers.
myself sad actually that I never got to play another Gothic game in these times.
We are fighting with memories. We're just trying to embrace the original vision of the authors.
When I was young, I played the games in German. It was one of the
Same.
only games which had a real character and authenticity to German like culture. Like
It was, man, the amount of telling you to piss off in different ways. It was hilarious, especially for me knowing that I'm understanding them was just hilariously funny. Hey du, neu hier was? Auf den Reisfeldern brauchen wir noch jemanden, der den Bauern Wasser bringt. Verpiss dich, du Arschloch, was my favorite phrase in the games. Yeah. It was very dark, and they didn't took a filter to their language. It felt very real in a sense. Coley, how you doing, by the way? It was very German. Yeah.
the dialogues were written in a way how you and me would speak if we would be, I don't know, friendly, drinking a beer and talking about stuff, right?
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
is something that was never
Thank you,
done
Colin,
by
for the
a game.
lurk.
It was so natural and so.
Man, lass mich bloß in Ruhe. Jeder hier hat ein Problem mit mir. Poor Kyle. But I agree. I love that when games take the more realistic approach of like how would common people talk to one another than the fantasized book approach of very elevated, high-pitched phrases of I don't know. I can't think out of my head of something right now, but I hope you know what I mean.
So
Might be a tech issue, but usually in gaming, even if you're told the game happens on a continental size area, the playable always felt way smaller. And just like you said, there was an enclosed area inside of Barra, which I always imagined closed is a smaller island. Yeah, true. But still, if I recall correctly, I heard from the devs of Gothic 1 that that was the issue, that they couldn't make the worlds bigger without too much of a performance problem.
close to reality in a way, like without being a simulation or whatever, kind of like fascinated me always.
Oh,
right?
Scatty.
Because it also like they were cursing each other in the game and like reacting to each other in a very rude way sometimes, and that
Exactly.
was kind of like an attractor for me.
Creo que tiene algo especial este juego desde el principio, desde que empiezas a jugarlo, te engancha, te envuelve como en ese aura oscuro y como duro, ¿no? Que
Exactly, Talia. It feels cruel and dark, and I very hope that you guys manage to maintain that atmosphere.
se consigue muy rápido, ¿no? Esa sensación de sentirte parte, ¿no? De ese mundo ya. La música, los environments.
Así que Gothic me gustó mucho por el setting y por el mundo.
Holy! Exactly moments like this I want. Sneaky jump scares in RPGs that nobody expects. Also, this double layer of CCs is getting me off here.
Y me llamó mucho la atención pues que era un juego que yo no estaba acostumbrado a jugar en ese momento. Un juego que no te guía,
Oh, you were
no
not playing it before?
no te indica dónde tienes que ir ni lo que tienes que hacer. Tienes que prestar
Yes, that's also a feature that I love, is when a game does not tell you exactly where you have to go. You have to figure stuff out on your own. There's no quest marker. There's nothing holding your hand and be like, well, let's go over there because there's a quest marker and then it even highlights the dots on the ground where you have to go. Please don't. You know, that's the charm of RPGs. Let us figure out stuff on your own. Let us explore. Let us interact with people. If we're lost, give us NPCs that we can talk to and be like, hey, where's this camp? Or hey, where's this character? I'm looking for him. And then you get a feedback response. It's similar to RL when you get lost. You go to people and ask for ways. You ask for directions. Morrowind playthrough when? You know what? We might be able to put it towards the to playlist, Morrowind. I was thinking even of Daggerfall, but I think Daggerfall would be too much of a jump back. I do hope 2. Played also 2, but then 1 did not felt right. 1 really brought the dark in with the things like being locked in the area you cannot escape from. Yeah. 2 was okay. The sequel. 3 might have been okay if it would not be such a bug fest, but it became okay after a lot of patches. Keep in mind, for those who don't like something are usually louder than those who do. Final Fantasy Remake had an 88% positive review. I still watch occasionally a streamer playing it, and she was happy with it, because of course your perception could depend on the bubble you choose. That as well. That as well. Depends, of course, how open you are to the changes to work. We could grab, for example, also Lord of the Rings, the books and the movie, because they altered a lot of story arcs and paths and characters that would be in the book, but not in the movie. Best example, Frodo being rescued by an elven character from the Dark Riders, and not from Arwen. There's a lot of changes. People might enjoy it or might not. The bear even killed you when you tried to cross it. Yeah, it ended you. I think I tried it out when I was playing. But yeah, paying attention to characters.
Prestar atención a lo que te dicen los personajes. Tienes que comprarte el mapa. Tienes que estar muy atento y eso realmente es una experiencia muy inmersiva. Y yo creo que eso es lo que más me gustó del juego.
Gothic is a very grounded game that you
They creeped me out as mind crawlers. They were nasty.
Feel like it's tough, it's hard, but also it's very realistic.
What this was amazing to me the first time that I played Gothic was how you could solve a lot of situations taking advantage of everyone. Everyone would take advantage of you, of course, but then you have these chances where you can take advantage of a character killing a scavenger for you, so you can go around something.
Creo que lo que más me gusta del Gothic, que combina la magia y todo, es que...
You like the magic in Gothic? Interesting.
Aunque
Why?
es un juego de fantasía, es muy verosímil. No es 100% realista, pero sí que intentamos que parezca realista. Entonces es como que combina esos dos mundos y no te da la sensación que estás como en un juego que no pudiera existir en la vida real, sino que es algo que te hace como meterte dentro del personaje y sentir que tú puedes estar viviendo eso.
Okay, so she's saying in other words that she did like the magical approach of the whole shebang, that it still feels kind of realistic and makes sense, and that you could imagine that magic would work in this kind of way. I can't even recall how the magic worked. Was it because of the ore that they were mining, the silver ore that gives them magical powers? Or was magic an embedded thing in the lore anyways, that there are mages there? Because mages did put up that barrier, but was their power coming from the silver ore? Juicing the power? Or was it something that they managed to train themselves? Ever recall Glorfindel saved him? I think it was Glorfindel. Been a while since I read the books.
World, like the simulation, but like everything is kind of like, everything had a daily routine, you can affect it, you can get to discover, kind of like be part of the life. It was the first simulation that I feel like was not centered around the player. It was...
I agree with you on that one. I feel that Gothic was its own living, breathing thing, and you were a side character to it. and your actions could manipulate on what's going on, or even end you because your manipulation was not seen nicely from the community or for the people that were living in that area. And then you might bog a certain approaches or something like that. For Gothic, it could go the same way, that it reaches more people than the original, since nowadays gaming is a big thing. Most likely. Most likely. Prisoners even used is as leverage against the king, if I recall. Yeah, that was the whole story arc of it, to summarize it closely for those people who are watching Gothic and experiencing Gothic for the first time, is mages entrapped prisoners into a mine of silver, and the king afterwards realized that his silver resources are running out, and the only income of silver that he needed to keep on the war against the orcs was with the prisoners. So they started a deal. They're getting whatever they want from the king in exchange for silver ore bank delivering up. And there's the old camp who's kind of like doing this whole trick with dealing with the king and keeping up their work. The new camp, they don't like to be prisoners. They want to go out, and they want to accumulate enough silver ore to just blow up the barrier. Was it magical ore, not silver ore? I think it was silver ore. Silver erz. Or was it just erz? I can't remember. It's been a while. Could be then just magical ore, not silver ore. And then you have the other camp who are just spiffing and buffing some swampy plants and having visions of their savior. I'm actually very curious which camp I might join in our remake run. Or maybe we'd make 3 runs and join each camp and see each ending. But that depends on you guys, of course.
Was actually going on while, you know, you were not the center of attention for everything. You were just a nobody. I really liked the progression system and how you learn abilities, and what also the progression had an impact on you know, your fighting styles. Like
that's Gothic 3.
Really, I think everybody struggled fighting against the first scavenger or run away from the diggers. And for me, this point from then learning that
it's the same death sound. I love it. And I agree with him. It's fantastic how the first little monsters feel so dangerous to you, and you're kind of. I mean, I was kind of scared when encountering then the next creature type and the next creature type, and you having this fear of your character's life with you until you become better and better and better, and then at some point they're just little critters that you just bash away. And this whole progression feel is chef's kiss. Drova Forsaken Kin, and game that recently came out, is a love letter to Gothic 1 and this whole Gothic series. Highly recommend it. It's not in this fancy 3D graphics. It's a pixel art direction, top down, but it is so good. Good morning, Zoltar. How you doing? Magical Hands, why after you bathed that ancient sword in it, Xardas gave you an offer to take its powers off the sword and make it into a rune, but the sword would become an ordinary one. Exactly. I love that there's approaches to the magic that kind of make sense of like how you gain those magic abilities, and not just being there like in Dungeons & Dragons, for example.
all the decisions make sense and all affect, and in the end of the game you are stronger and you
it's
get
brutal.
a name in the colony. For me, that's the most memorable thing of the game.
For me, the main thing that for me defines Gothic, it's the way you interact with other characters. I mean, it's not about, killing 20 wolves and so you get a rise in your level of expertise in sword fighting. It's about find someone, convince him to teach you how to improve your skills, and then maybe if you're good enough, he will teach you something. These human relations.
Our aim was also
good old
to
Diego.
create this remake in a mindful way and with respecting greatly the original, but we also wanted to set up like with the graphics to be like a modern game with a realistic look, right? And that kind of fights with the original, because the original, they only had so much polygons per figures, for example. And with these restrictions, you design creatures and NPCs and whatever, you design it in a very specific way to get the fantasy in your head, right? You had to do this back in the day. If there is people who are like, yeah, but I like this look. If you really like the look of the original game, I mean, I think there is a game for you, which is the original. And thankfully, I mean, you can now play Gothic 1 and 2 as classic editions on modern consoles, which I think was also one of our key strategies always to take care about franchises and IPs, to make sure the thing that people love is actually preserved.
In the end,
That's a very nice way of thinking. I have to agree. Hoping the combat would be as clunky as in the OG. I hope not, Relic. I certainly hope not. I hope they step up the whole mechanics.
Fighting to recreate the love memories, and in Spanish we say, there's a say that says, cualquier tiempo pasado fue mejor. It seems any past time was way better. So in the end, we're trying to challenge with this, but it's not a nice challenge. So when I read some fans' comments about, and they say, for example, a new cam image, we released not much time ago, and they say, wow, this is exactly how the new cam was in my imagine when I was playing. And then some other fans show him the real image of the new cam of the original game, and they say, what the hell? What the fuck? What's this? In my head, it was like the remake one.
So first of all, I think that the fan base of the original...
Yeah, I, for example, won't care if in the original would be the streets and there's a house and there's a house and there's a house, or if there is now multiple layers and the whole structure of the architecture is a little bit different because we have a better technology nowadays to express and build up the situation. So I don't mind if they expand on what is there, and as long as I hope they stay true to the red line of the story arc. So they can, for example, add a different character that greets you at the door. They can, I don't know, they can alter some things. I'm not this kind of like, this has to be exactly in the same wording, in the same loop of meeting character A, meeting character B, meeting character C. There can be some spice, there can be some twists. It's a remake after all, so why not alter a few things and bring in stronger, diverse storytelling into it, as long as they keep true to the story arc and don't overshoot it. Because then I think it's a misstep in a remaster, in my opinion. Then I would just call it a different game. Maybe Gothic, but not Gothic 1 remaster. I don't know, make a new Gothic game that just reboots the franchise. It uses maybe the same protagonists and names, but tells it in a different way. Like we have so many reboots of so many superhero movies right now and other shenanigans where they just tell the same story in a sense, but in a different way.
Is a multi-layered demographic and structure.
Oh god, I'm getting angry with that.
One voice.
I think they're reimagining.
And say like, if you do it like that, everybody will like it, and that's the core problem. There's so many different opinions. There's even like when we did the Gothic playable teasers, there were even like old fans who were like, "Great, finally doing something different with it." I disagree with this. I feel like with the playable teaser, the aim was to really push the boundaries and go over it to get strong reactions, and we got that. So that worked out.
So back in the day, we were asking, okay, what fans want? What do they want? They want the same story with new graphics, or maybe a retold. Maybe they want a new story within the world, or maybe they want something in the line of new modern games where the character is always talking and you know, doing jokes to the player. I don't know, so we thought, okay, let's go stream, let's force a very strong reaction, and with that, we can understand what they really want, no? And in the end, we got the reaction, we got a lot of ideas from the fans, the fans showed us the way, and they helped us to create the pillars of the Gothic remake, no? I remember 4 years ago creating a document with the pillars of the game.
Getting nostalgia trips here, seeing this.
Okay, those are the, we cannot move. Those are the pillars of everything what we are reconstructing the next years. Those are the founding pillars, and it should be that. So for me, the
we're swimming
was good because it helped us to define those basic pillars, and we are here today.
When we started to create the real Gothic 1 remake and Gothic Greenlight to do it, we set out to, or we defined that first and foremost, we have to please the old Gothic fans. Because if they don't like our game, then this game has no right to exist.
I would say two things. The first thing is to the fans.
That's a rare thing to hear, or a rare mentality to see for people who want to do a remake. Mostly it's because they know a franchise worked well and they're just gonna make a remake because they got the rights for it and, you know, just milk the cow again for some cash and don't really care. But from the sounds of it, it sounds like they do really care and they have a good vision of what to do and they have a good direction of where to go. And I'm getting more hyped for this game just listening to this.
I hope that they fully understand the way we embrace the original, the way we respect and we are trying to honor the original, because we understand how important is this game, well, the franchise, but Gothic 1 in special for them. No, sometimes I read.
I can't wait to see how the orcs will show.
This with my father, and I will play the remake with my son. So I hope that they understand that we are doing this with passion and with all of our heart.
It's the people out there that make us do what we love doing. They enable us to do that, and they are kind of the other half of that world that kind of only works if the both halves come together. We, being passionate game developers that pour our hearts and souls into making the game, and the audience that enjoys playing those games and kind of keeping it alive over so many years.
And for the future, I would like to play Gothic Remake in 20 years with Aran, with my son. He's 2 years old now, but maybe in 15 years or 16 years, we can play together and I say, okay, Papa, you did this, and I say, yeah. But yeah, maybe in 10 years, we can play
That's
together.
Cute. That's good. Even as you're 12 or... I was also very young when I played Gothic 1. That's true, that's true. Well, from what I've heard so far here, thanks to THQ and the dev team for putting this video together. From what I've heard so far here is they're going into a nice direction and basically heard everything that I was hoping for to hear. Keeping the story arc and the original vision there, adding on top of it and making it better and bringing new mechanics to it. I'm down for it. I'm down for Gothic 1. I can't wait. Fingers crossed it comes out this year. I don't mind if they push it back to 2026, if they need more time. I want a good product, hopefully bug-free. And, I mean, if they want to go into the original shoes, we might get a product that is completely bugged and not working properly, like Gothic 1 was when it released. But I hope they do not repeat the same mistakes or things that happened there with the other titles. But yeah, I'm curious of those watching the video later on in the tubes, what your thoughts are about Gothic 1 and if you played it and if you played this remake or keep your hands off it.